Welcome, everybody, to the World of Ability Podcast Network. My name is Emily Gomer, and a podcast engineer here. And I'm excited to bring you another episode of the Aspie Bridge Show with Suzanne Plumley that we do here every week, every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central. And uh, as always, we'd love to have everyone come on as a guest. So if you would are interested, please let us know. And we'd love to have you check out all of our social media, YouTube, Facebook, um, LinkedIn, and so on. But with nothing further ado, pass it over to Suzanne to kick us off and uh, introduce our awesome guest today. So, I'll take
Well, hello everyone, and thank you for coming. Emily, thank you as usual for hosting us. And I'm here today with my great coach friend, Sharon Vidano.
Hello, good
And
morning.
there you go. Oh, what a great friends I've met just by doing this podcast. It's been so much fun. And as you all know, there are so many people out in the world on the internet, especially YouTube, who are telling you about all the wonderful traits of autism and telling you how to deal with the certain circumstances. The mission of the Aspie Bridge is more than that. Well, it has an important role, I should say. It's not more than telling you about the traits and letting you know what it is. It's about connecting all of you who feel stuck in the neurodivergent world, thinking that society is a scary place to go. And yet, what by bringing on all my guests, it helps you to see that these people are there in the community to help you. They're not going to let you fall and feel like an absolute failure. Though failure is not a bad thing, and you'll learn about that very shortly. But with Paul Micallef out in Australia, and Sam Stein in the Netherlands, Sarah Hendricks in the UK, Temple Grandin here in the US, and all the other wonderful individuals who are on YouTube who are telling you about what autism is. The mission of the Aspie Bridge is to connect you with wonderful people like Sharon and all the guests that have come before her and all the guests who will come after her. Now, we're not here necessarily telling you what the traits are. There are so many people doing that. We're here to more take the teachings that we've received as coaches from our mentor, Mary Morrissey, and the faculty at Brave Thinking Institute, and helping you to realize that you are no less. You are no less of a person just because you have a diagnosis or you feel you have a diagnosis. You're here because you deserve the same life as everybody else. Now, let me introduce you to Sharon so that she can tell you a little bit about herself and why she wants to be a bridge builder here on our show today.
Hello, good morning, Suzanne. Thank you for having me. My name is Sharon Vidano. In my previous career, I was actually a criminal defense attorney. And in that line of work, I actually supported many of my clients through these principles as I applied them to my life as well. Eventually retired from that job and decided to do this full time because I absolutely love helping people. Like I said, I live and breathe it, and everybody deserves to live a life they love. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to serve.
Wonderful. Oh, thank you, Sharon. And I'm sure you ran across a couple of fears when you went from your old job and through your old job and now into this new one. And that's what we're here to talk about today is befriending your fear, how to deal with your fear so that your fear doesn't have you. And let me tell you that if we're not very careful on how we let thoughts enter our mind, we're going to find out that a lot of the fears and doubts and worries get in there. And we have to stop them. We have to find a way to counteract those. Now, we don't tell them to go away, they're not going to go away. But there is a better way to handle them. And yes, sometimes we just have to change that thought around and say, up until now, that's how I felt. But now I know I can be successful. Up until now, I might not have lasted in a job for more than 4 months, but now I don't have the fear to do that anymore. Let's go on because I think you'll understand how this comes to be. Everyone has a strength beyond their knowing, and the fears, doubts, and worries can have us abandon our dreams if we're not careful. But Sharon's here to tell you how to develop that strength. Go ahead, Sharon.
Thank you. Thank you, Suzanne. So, yes, absolutely. Everyone does have a strength in them that they have no idea it's actually there. So, the reality is that when you breathe every single day, even throughout the night when you're sleeping, so you don't choose to breathe. So, there is a power within you and a strength within you that actually breathes you. So, because you have that power in you, it's something that you can actually tap into. So when you know that power is there, then the fear, doubt, and worry, when they come in, you know that you can actually rely on that. So because this power is something that just happens. For example, it might be kind of like you have hair. You know, you just have hair, so you just have the power. So with the hair, you don't choose to have hair. You don't choose to make it grow. You don't choose to have it do whatever it does. And okay, so maybe you might be older and you might be losing some hair. You have some hair on your body at somewhere. Maybe it's your eyebrows or something, or a little bit tiny nose hairs that keeps you healthy and your airways healthy. So your hair is just there. So for example, perhaps a hair is a symbol of your strength. You don't have to do something to deserve your hair. It just is there, just like that power. It's a part of you. So sometimes when you actually have the fear, if it comes in so much and you forget that you have that power, that perhaps a part of you will actually abandon. You'll lose focus on exactly what your dreams are, what your goals are, what you want to do. So the reality is it's all this power is inside of us, kind of like a blade of grass that's pushing through a piece of cement. It's striving to grow and life wants to be. So this life is in you as well.
Oh, yes. And I'm sure you've all seen how you can be walking down the sidewalk and it's like, whoa, that's kind of interesting. There's a dandelion that just popped right up in between what looked like maybe an eighth of an inch. And yet that dandelion didn't say, oh, there's not enough room up there for me. It just came anyway.
Yeah.
And often, and I'll let Sharon speak to this as well. Sometimes those fears, doubts, and worries come up because we're stepping outside of our comfort zone. Now, you may not like the current life you're in right now, but just that unfamiliarity is enough to spike that fear and doubt. Like, maybe I shouldn't be going to society. Maybe they will make fun of me the way I talk or whatever. Maybe they will tell me I can only scrub the floors or mop the table or do that. So we have to understand that we need to face those fears. Well, what if they think that you're the most awesome problem solver? And just switch it around. Think about what your passions are and say, yeah, that's what they think. But I know what I can do. And that's what Sharon was talking about with the strengths. You know your passions, you know your gifts. They just haven't met them yet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you can counteract your strengths with. It's like, I know what I know. And I'm in a field where I know a lot of this information. They just need to see it first. So let's go on to say that Einstein was famous for saying that you can't solve a problem at the level of the problem. And what that means is that sometimes we get in such frantic mood and we get so anxious that we can't think clearly. A brain fog comes over our minds, or we're just so anxious that trying to solve the problem isn't going to work in that fashion. We need to find a way to take the deep breaths, steady our minds, whether it be through meditation, taking a walk, or listening to music that relaxes you. When you come to that relaxed state, you can come to realize that some ideas are starting to come through. Wait a minute. I just realized that I do know someone in my field that might be able to get me a job. I don't have to worry about wondering where the next meal is going to come from, where the next paycheck. I know someone in that field. So, Sharon, what would you like to add to that bit of information about the level of a problem?
Yeah, so I just want to add with the breath. If you're in a kind of like a panic mode and you're kind of breathing and you're just and your mind is going, a million miles a minute, you can't really slow down and you can't really think. It's just kind of spiraling. We say it's spiraling down. So when you take a deep breath, it actually takes you out of that fight or flight mode, and it actually takes you into a very, very calm state. So you can listen. Now you can listen to and tap into that power that we talked about, that like that power in your hair, that power is already in you. So being calm and quieting your mind and slowing everything down gives you the ability to go ahead and take a moment.
Definitely. And you'll be surprised at how many ideas do start to come to you that you hadn't even remembered. Like, let's just say that you remember down another town over, there's something in your field of study that can solve that problem. Maybe there was that special library or bookstore where you found all the books on that topic that weren't right in your town. You start to get these ideas that will come to you that it's like, wait a minute, I've completely forgot all about that. Well, it's that frenzied anxiousness in us that provides this brain fog that comes over and says, whoa, wait a minute. You just have to slow yourself down, find that happy or relaxed place in you. Now, don't force the ideas to come to you. You do have to keep living your life. And that might be a good time to say, you know what? I've been wanting to take that bike ride. Sometimes you'll be very surprised that if you sit there and say, okay, the thoughts have to come now because I'm relaxed. No, the thoughts still aren't going to come because you think you're relaxed. Sometimes you got to go and have fun. And that's when the ideas start to download, is what we call it. It's because you're not concentrating on, I got to solve this problem. You're still in that anxious mode again. Right. So there is a way that we call the internal pause button. And Sharon's going to tell you all about the internal pause button and setting an appointment. I think she has a really cute story to tell you.
I do. And if I can add one more topic to the previous conversation. So in regards to making your moves, it doesn't have to be a big move. Don't think, oh, I need to go sign up for that, that big, go register at a university or something. It doesn't have to be that. It can be something very small. So whatever your goal is in the moment, it could be what we call a 5-minute power move. It can be something very simple. It could be simple as, I really want to plan my menu for the week, or at least create a grocery list so that I can at least kind of see what my needs are and then just kind of pick at it. So that might be something that you could do a power move for the day. Or your power move for the week is, I'm actually going to put all my grocery list into my shopping cart, but I'm only going to pick and choose what I need. So at least you're ahead of the game. You feel that you've actually moved forward in this little move. Little movements actually create great results in the end. So don't think that the move has to be huge. It can be very, very small, even in something in just that you could do in just the moment. So but yes, I do have a story. Yes, and talking about when you are in that fight or flight mode, what you want to do.
Let me just interrupt you for one moment, because I want to thank you for bringing that up, Sharon. I think that was awesome. You and I had talked about doing that, and I had forgotten that is a crucial step, everyone. That 5-minute power move that Sharon was just talking to you about. These are ways that you can revert your attention from being in that frenzied mood to like, what step can I take? And as Sharon said, the 5-minute, the 1 day or 1 hour or 1 day. And that's perfect. I'm so glad you remembered to bring that up, because I completely had forgotten about it.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So and here's another, this can also be a power move when we talk about when you're in your fight or flight mode. So you take your deep breath, breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth like a straw, so that you can lower your heart rate, calm your nervous system. And that, I call that the internal pause button. So when you have an internal pause button, you just say no to your fear. And then you say, you know what, whatever the incident is, or whatever your thought is that you're having your fear, you say, I'm going to make an appointment with the fear. So, and let me give you an example. I had gone to an event with my son, and my two sons went to this event, and they didn't really know what this event was about. They just heard, mom's taking us on a vacation. But when we actually got there, I said, no, this is a really good event for us to learn something. And they felt very uncomfortable. They were out of their comfort zone. And I could see that they were really starting to panic. And my son said, Mom, this is crazy. And I said, okay, hang on. So I had all of them breathe. Take a deep breath, and then they calmed down. And then I finally said, do me a favor. Take your opinion of crazy, whatever crazy is, put a pause on that and hold that opinion for 3 days. I'm not asking you to change it. I'm not asking you to do anything. I'm just asking you to take a pause on it, and then breathe, and then just be open for the rest of the event, so that you can at least now think. And so he was able to do that. But say hypothetically, we came to the 3 days and he still thought it was crazy. And I'll say, okay, well, if you think it's crazy at that point, now you can figure out what your next step is. But at least in the 3 days, you were not suffering. You're not in this fight or flight mode where you felt like you were spiraling out of control. You can actually think, and maybe other things, listening to that power within you, will give you other solutions. So that's the internal pause button.
Oh, that's a good one. And on top of that, there is always a seed of good. We talked about this last week. And Napoleon Hill said, for every adversity, for every problem, for every challenge, for every difficulty, there is still a seed of good in it. Start to think about what the seed of good was. Maybe you have a friend who's kind of being a little different about giving you the plans of the weekend. You're supposed to have this wonderful weekend plan, and she's kind of being a little off-standish. She's not really paying attention. You're thinking, oh, she's aloof. Why is she not wanting me to be part of these plans? Why is she not giving me more details? And you're starting to get all panicked and upset, like your friend doesn't care about you anymore. But what if your friend is actually planning a surprise birthday party for you? Or a surprise anniversary party for you? Well, you wouldn't want to have her go and say, oh, well, since you asked me, I'm planning a party. No, just think about all the different things that could be coming up. Maybe she's having a certain problem that she's trying to work through. It has nothing to do with you. Mm-hmm. So before you get all frantic that it's about you, and we do that, we're hypervigilant at times, that we're like, oh, what did I do now? Maybe it's a party that you're not supposed to know about. Maybe it's something that she wants to buy a present, but she's trying to figure out how not to have you right there when she's buying it. There are so many good things that can come out of something that you misunderstand. Yeah. And try to think of all the good steps. Go ahead, Sharon.
Yeah, I just want to add, and the seed of a good may be something that you will never know what the good is, at least in the moment. So, for example, I remember I was with my girlfriend at my previous career. We were leaving work really late, and I don't typically stay this late with her. And we left at the same time. And when we were leaving at the same time, her car, it's a hybrid car, all the electronics were dead. It was just down. So I waited with her because it was late, and we had the tow truck come, and probably about an hour and a half later, we were waiting. And all of a sudden we sat there, and I pushed a button on her car, which made no sense because the car was dead, but I pushed it not thinking, to recline so I can go to sleep. And then the car lit up like a Christmas tree. So my perspective to her is, I said, for whatever reason, the power that breeds us, the power said it was not meant for us to be on the road at that time, within that hour and a half. So it could be for our good. Who knows? Maybe we avoided an accident, or maybe, we just don't know. We just don't know what it is. So when something doesn't work out for you, that's kind of like befriending your fear also. just know there is a seed of good, just like you said, that you may not know what that good is, but it is for your benefit. So don't get all worked up. Just say, yes, there is a seed of good. And then you just go on to your next step, whatever that is.
Oh yeah. Oh, and definitely. I mean, I'll often say that about red lights and when I'm running late, and I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to be so late. I'm going to be so late." But maybe you've just bypassed a major accident that you could have been part of.
Right.
Maybe you were staying safe by having that red light. And so sometimes I like to go through red lights and green lights and just take that time to say there is a reason why there's a red light. Okay, I'm thankful for it. There's a reason why there's a green light. Thank you, I'm in the flow. So there we go. Oh, let's see. Now, Sharon, you and I know that there are some ways to deal with our fear. To really, if we can't get it out of our head, the first thing is to write it down. We know that we want to release anything that's in our mind that might be keeping us stressed. And then we need to say, is it happening now? Is this problem happening now? I don't know. Well, like with the red light keeping you stuck, okay, well, that's just a red light. How big of a problem is it? Maybe you're stuck at a doctor's appointment and you're waiting to go in, and they're not telling you why you can't go in yet.
Right.
You have to really say, is this problem happening now?
Right.
Then the last thing is, do I want it to happen?
Right.
What would you like to add to that, Sharon?
So for an example, like and I'll give an example when after my divorce and I was dating, part of the stories, dating can be kind of scary, so part of the stories that I was telling myself is, oh, well, what if I'm not cute enough, or what if he doesn't like me, or what if I'm not funny, something like that. So, and with your tools that you talked about, so you can write it down, and then so you'll ask the question, is it happening now? Am I not cute enough? Am I not funny? And I would say, no, that's not happening. And do I want it to happen that I'm not cute and I'm not funny? Of course not. So therefore it's not, right? So it's just a thought in my head. So that's how you face your fears. So you look at what the story is, then you really look into the truth, whether it's really happening. The reality is it's not, right? And then you befriend your fear, you take your deep breath, and then you take your 5-minute power move anyway. So, and that's how you befriend your fear and you continue to move on. So I think those are great tools, Suzanne.
It's very necessary. And I know that there are a lot of women that I work with that tend to be like on that whole topic of the internet dating. That brings up a very interesting story. There are a lot of us who have been hurt because along with autism comes a lot of family trauma. And we've been hurt in our families. So our fear is that, we're going to get hurt again. Someone's going to take advantage of us again. Someone's going to take money from us again, or cheat on us again, or whatever you experienced in your childhood. I can't do that. I can't trust. And that's where you have to say, is there someone right now that I want to be with, that I don't trust them? Sometimes we just have to get to the bottom of it and say, is that really happening now? Or is this a part of my past I'm trying to bring into my present time? And we use the words up until now. But you also accept what happened. See, really ask yourself, okay, that was my family. But is this guy part of my family? Or is this woman part of my family? Or is this person part of my family? They don't know what your family did to you. You can't judge them based on your past. But you have to ask yourself, okay, well, so far, this is what I know. And have a conversation. Don't jump into it full throttle. Take it slowly. Take it and say, okay, I need to get to know him better. This is another form of a pause button to slow down and say, I don't need the relationship right this moment.
Yes.
This is a learning time. Would you recommend that? what else can you help us with? Because you've had the experience. I know for myself and a lot of people, because we have had backgrounds and past histories with different people that might have taken advantage of us. The fear is definitely there, and the worry that it will happen again. What can you help us with there, Sharon? Because I
Well,
know that you're also a relationship coach.
yes, yes. So I would like to add, because yes, you have that past experiences, but those past experiences actually were learning experiences for you as well. And I know some of them could be may have some hurtful memories with it, but acknowledging there's a hurt, embracing yourself, that giving yourself grace about that, whatever that was in the past, but then learn from it. So take the seed of good from it. And then as you take the seed of good from it, guess what? Your awareness has grown. So now your awareness has grown. You're tapping into that power that is within you. So as you're speaking with different gentlemen and as you're vetting them, you're listening to that power that we talked about, that is within you, like your hair. So you're listening to that power, and with your newfound awareness, you're going to be able to vet these guys easier. And each time that you have an encounter or an interaction, when during my dating journey was very grateful for each one of them. I know the first few were kind of hurtful, but then when I shifted my perspective, I learned so much just in that relationship. So as I learned, each one got better and better. So I would say, don't give up. Don't give into the fear, because then that'll give you a paralysis. Then you're not going to move. You're never going to make movement. You have that desire. So put aside the fear and then tap into your power, which is like your hair. Tap into your power and know that you've raised your awareness, and then take your step anyway. And it might just be downloading an app, or it might be actually just saying hello. And remember, you don't have to do anything you don't want to. So if you don't have to talk to this guy just because he said hello, so it is all within yourself, and you can honor yourself and that power within you also. So
that's kind of like tapping into our intelligence, our higher power, and saying, what do I feel? What are my internal feelings about this person? Do I feel safe?
Yeah.
Do I feel like he's going to be authentic?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Sharon, if I remember correctly, that's one of your areas that you're coaching in, isn't it? Relationships?
Yes. So that was part of my journey. So as part of my journey, I had a very rocky first marriage, and I finally decided that I was done. Within that marriage, even though my former husband didn't say these exact words, but through his actions, what I believed about myself was that I was not worthy of his time, money, and effort, and that started to dictate some of my emotions about myself and then my actions. But one day I decided I was done. And then I started to, I said, you know what? I do want to meet the man of my dreams someday. And I had started applying many of these tools that Suzanne, you're talking about, and that we are trained in through the Brave Thinking Institute. And with those tools, you start to learn to trust your intuition. You start to trust your inner knowing. And then, like I said, you raise your awareness as you're starting to talk to different gentlemen. And each time your awareness grows, it gets better and better. It really does. But you really can't give in to the fear. And I had the fear. Don't get me wrong. I remember when I just downloading the app, I started having a panic attack just to download it. I didn't even look in it, So, but you just have to move past it, and then just know that you are okay. You are your highest authority. You don't have to do anything you don't want to. And then the more you learn and the more your awareness grows, the more you tap into and trust your intuition. So yeah, and yes, ultimately I met my husband, the man of my dreams. So he's amazing.
That's wonderful. That's awesome, because I know there are many times that when I go into society, I want someone like you, what do you think? And while we're not supposed to necessarily worry about someone else's opinion, it still would be nice to have that second person's gut feeling
Yes.
because while we're getting to know ourselves, and this is where a bridge builder would come in handy. Hey, I kind of would love to have you going. We're gonna go get coffee. Would you
Yeah.
go get coffee and kind of help us out here? Because sometimes one of the rules I put into my bridge builders is to have a relationship person. And how nice it would feel for us to feel more secure to know whether or not the red flags get pulled up for this person in them. Like we already are dealing with the fear.
Yeah.
I'm curious to wonder if the red flags might pop up for someone else who's not even dating. And we call that being blocked. There is a method called the Johari window. And sometimes our information for ourselves gets blocked because of our past experiences.
Hmm.
Imagine what it would be like to have a bridge builder who can say, yeah, I'm going to be in the area. I'll just pop over and grab myself a cup of coffee. Then you have both of you, because I know for a lot of us, it's although we're supposed to have the internal power, it is nice to have some external validation that we're seeing what we need to see and not seeing what we're not supposed to see. Meaning, we're not making it up that this guy is dangerous when he could be a wonderful person, and
Hmm.
vice versa.
Right, right, right. Yeah, and then you want to be able to have that kind of like a partner in believing. You want to have that partner in believing that has your best interest and safety in mind as well. But yes, kind of like when our mentors talks about you, it's hard to know what's going on when you're actually in the picture frame. That's not quite the quote, but that's something like it. But yeah, it's easier for someone on the outside to see something. So absolutely.
I hope you didn't mind that I was tapping into your zone
Not
of
at
expertise.
all. Not at all.
But I mean, that's the whole purpose of my building the Bridge Builder program. Is that there are many women who are like, for me to go over the bridge and go back into society by myself, it just would be nice to have that partner in believing, to see any red flags, to see any maltreatment, because sometimes we get so excited about having a new job or having a new boyfriend or having a new relationship with whomever that we get so excited that we don't always see any potential problems that can come up.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we are working on relieving our fears and our doubts and our worries, but a partner in believing might help some of our women to feel even more secure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Sharon, I heard that you have a very interesting connection with um, someone who's making a film
Yes.
about
Yeah.
autism.
Yes, yes. So my husband actually, moved forward on his dream building as well, and he's producing and starring in a full feature film. So basically, it's a wonderful story about a retired officer who takes care of his autistic granddaughter, and it's a story of their transformation of their relationship. So we're in production right now. So go ahead and follow them at Patriot Filming on Instagram, and then so they can continue to get updates. And it should be released next year. So thank you for the plug.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think, and this is why when you asked me about it, I'm like, it's so nice to be able to watch more characters up on the film being representing the autism. Because so many times there are so many women that feel like, well, you have to be beautiful and such to be in movies. You have to do, and if any of my women would love to be in a show or something, if they don't see that autism is being represented in a positive way, they're going to be like, no, I don't want to be a laughing stock.
Right, right.
And so that brings up the fear downward. Maybe there are just some careers that I don't belong in. But the fact that you're having this film that you're talking about, I think the more we can see autism on the screen,
Mm-hmm.
the more we can see it represented in the most factual way,
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
better it is for us.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
we have a few moments, so if you don't mind, I'd like to add on to that
Sure.
to say that there are so many different characters that we're now starting to see in the movies, and I applaud your husband for being a part of this. This is Huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just finished watching the Good Doctor.
Oh, yeah.
And that was phenomenal. And so for our women to start to see that autism is being represented in a very positive light, I think that starts to take away some of the fears that society still sees us as. If we're not the 5-year-old boy with autism, then we're not autistic. I ran
Mm.
into this not too long ago with my doctor. It's like, oh, you have eye contact. You can get on screen. You can talk. You can do this. Are you really autistic?
Mm.
And I think that's what a lot of my women are now going through is the fear, doubt, worry that, wait a minute, I'm not getting my needs met because I'm different. But I'm not getting my needs met because people don't believe I'm autistic. Where do I belong? And that's a fear that's starting to come up for them is where do they belong? And they're getting nervous about this. So by seeing your husband as part of this movie, by seeing The Good Doctor and some of the other movies that are coming up, they're starting to release some of this worry that society still sees them as invalid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So we're very excited. We're very excited about the film. So
That's wonderful. Next week, we have the forgiveness work. And I think that that will go along with this because sometimes we have to realize that when we do jump into situations and people don't treat us as well as we would like to be, we need to understand that forgiveness is part of that. We need to realize that it's everyone is human. We all come down to earth having a human experience. We all have that situation, and so I think forgiveness is good. What do you think on forgiveness?
yeah, no, absolutely. It's something that we need to look at and really, and I know you'll get into it next week, but in a nutshell, once forgiveness is not really acknowledging and saying whatever that other person did is okay. It really is just it's shifting your own perception to free yourself. So, and that ultimately that's what it is. So,
And that ties right back to the doubting ourselves that we have to accept this behavior,
mhm.
that we have to be blamed. We don't have to worry about the ones that blame. So Sharon, I know that we did such a great job of going through this topic very well. Is there anything else you would like to add to the subject that we might have forgotten?
Just no, nothing, just really just to add, just remember that everybody, you have that power within you, and then to know that you can really do absolutely anything that you would love to do, and don't give into that fear, because if you give into that fear, then there is no movement. If nothing changes, what our mentor says, if nothing changes, nothing changes. So so if you really want something, go for it. Even if you're a little fearful, I'm not saying jump off a cliff, but it means like, maybe downloading that app like I did, something like that. So, if you want if you want something, if you have goals, if you have dreams, just take a tiny step towards it. Put aside that fear, make an appointment with it later, because you might even realize that when you make an appointment with that fear later, that it might dissipate. And it might just be you and your own thoughts giving it a lot of energy. So if you don't give it energy, maybe it'll dissipate. So
Absolutely. And there is a level of risk of walking outside your comfort zone. Now, when we say risk, we're not saying putting yourself or anyone else in harm. It's just putting the doubt aside, saying, I know that's what happened in my past, but I'm not going to let my past hinder my future. And you have to say, what was the good that came from that? Oh, well, I learned that I need this kind of person in my life. And that really can alleviate a lot of fears is when you can take the lessons learned and move forward. Okay, so now I'm just not going to be in that situation again.
yeah.
And you've already dissipated the fear and doubts that comes up. It's like, okay, I've learned my lesson.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Sharon, I want to say thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
today.
Thank you.
And I think it was a lot of fun. I think the women will have and men, not just women. There are some late diagnosed men out there who are like, what the heck is going on with me?
Mm.
And up until now, they were like, I'm just weird or whatever. And no, you're not weird. None of you are weird. None of you, we are just thinking at a different processing level. And I have a cup that says that we have different abilities. We're not less than.
Mm.
And that's important to remember, is you're not less than.
Yeah.
You're not below other people. Just because society may think that, it's not you, it's they're ignorant about what's going on in the world. And
Yeah.
sometimes we just have to take our strengths and say, look at what I can do.
Yep. Yes.
So Sharon,
thank you.
thank you so
Thank you
much for
having
coming
me
today.
Thank you.
I hope you have a wonderful day.
You too. I will see you soon.
All right. Thank you.